In this video, I will go over some of the examples related to the while loop or condition control loop, also known as infinite loops. Okay, so let's start with some simple examples and then we will go through more sophisticated examples. Let's say we set a variable I to 0 and we say while I is less than 10, print that number, and we say I is equal to I plus 1, or we could say I plus equal 1. And once it's done, we can say print done. So let's see how this code will run. So we'll go from 0 all the way to 9. Once I becomes 10, then it will not be less than 10 and it will exit the loop and it will press done. Now this part is important. Let's see what will happen if I don't put this line in here. I'll see that there's just a bunch of zeros being printed, and because I is always going to be less than 10, this becomes an infinite loop, which is something we don't want to happen. So I'm going to pause it here. We make sure that always anytime we run a loop, we have a stop condition. We have somewhere to stop the code. Okay, next example. Let's say our temperature, our thermostat is checking the temperature, and if the temperature is 112, we say it's fine. Otherwise, we will reduce the temperature one by one until we reach to the proper temperature. So I can say temp is equal to 112. That's an acceptable temperature. And I am saying input. So temperature is equal to integer input. What is the current temperature? And here we write a while loop. We say while temperature is the new temperature, the input is greater than temp, you can print let's say temperature is too hot. And what we do is that we reduce the temperature one by one. So I can say minus equal 1 until it reaches 112. And once it's 112, we can print the temperature is right. So let's run this code. So I'm saying the temperature is, let's say, 120. So what it does, it will reduce the temperature one by one until it reaches 112, and it says the temperature is right. Okay. Again, this part is important because if I don't have it, I'm gonna have to be dealing with an infinite loop where there's nowhere to stop this loop. So pause that. Let's go to the next example. I can actually run an example of an infinite loop. Let's say we can say counter is equal to 1, and I'm saying while counter is greater than 0, print counter, and then instead of reducing it, I'm gonna say counter plus equal 1. So let's see what happens here. And let's say I want to say once the process is done, press down. We might not be able to get to that because what happens is that we start from 1, the counter comes here, counter turns 2, it's going to be greater than 0, it's always going to be greater than 0. So we see that it's keep going and just printing numbers. There's nowhere to stop this. So I have to stop this loop manually again. If this counter was 100 and I was reducing the number, then we will see that it will stop once the counter reaches 0. So that becomes a loop that is definite. Okay. Next example, imagine we have a situation and we want to calculate the price of some items at the store. So a customer comes to the to check out, and we check how many items they have, and for each item we calculate the price and then sum it all up, and then we will print the total. So let's see how we can run an example like this using a loop statement, a while loop. So here I'm defining a variable called continue, and I'm saying continue is equal to yes or y, and we have the sum or the total. Like I'm just going to say total is equal to 0 at the checkout. And what we do is that we say while continue is, as long as this is equal to yes, do certain set of actions. For instance, I can say calculate the value of an item and get this value, price of item 1, and I can just remove the number actually. So we calculate the price of we first receive the price of the item, and next thing we do is that we're going to increase that total, which starts with 0, with the price of the item or the value of the item. And here what we do is that we receive the input for continue. We say, do you want to continue or not? So here I would say, do you wish to continue? So we say input, do you wish to continue? So let's see what happens. So if the user says yes, the continue will be equal to y, and it will go through this loop again. It will receive the value of an item and it will add it. If we get no or n, this condition becomes false, and then we will exit the loop. So here I can say print your total is total, and then we can print done. So let's see how that works. So I'm running this code. So first, what's the price of the item? Let's say $20. Do you wish to continue? Yes. What's the price of the next item? $15. Do you wish to continue? Yes. Next item, 5. Do you wish to continue? No. And here I have my total, which is the sum of all of these values. Let's run this example again. Price of an item, let's say $10. Do you wish to continue? No. And your total is $10. So this is an example of how we can run a while loop in order to receive multiple values. I can rerun another example, something that I have covered in previous topics. Let's say we want to receive commission rate and sales price from a salesman and calculate the total commission. But what we want to do is that we're interested to do this for multiple salesmen. So as many salesmen that's we have in our company. So we want to write a code that in a way that if there's one salesman or 100 salesmen, we will be able to calculate their commission. So here, again, I'm gonna create a variable called keep going or continue and say equal to y. And I'm saying, well, keep going is equal to Why? So as long as these values check, while this condition is true, do me a favor. First, tell me about the commission rate. I can say the commission rate. So let me just put an input here. We say what is the input for commission rate. I can just copy paste this and do the second one for sales. So I'm going to create a value called sales. That could also be an input. What is the sales value here? So once we have this, we calculate the commission. So commission is equal to commission rate times sales. And here what we do is we print the commission rate. I can use FS string literals. I can say your commission in this month is, and we print commission here. And we close it here. And what we do is that before we finish this, we say keep going. Do you wish to input? We can just copy paste that statement from up there. Do you wish to calculate another, or do you wish to continue? I'm just going to say, do you wish to continue from here? So do you wish to continue? Do you want to calculate this for another person? The user will say yes or no. And once you get that value, we will continue this loop, and I can say in the end, just print the end. Okay, so let's see the commission rate. I'm going to say 0.2, and the sales value was 10,000, and I got an error named sales is not defined. So let me see, this is, they're not consistent, so I'm gonna do that again, and I'm receiving your commission for this month is 2,000. Do you wish to continue? Yes. Let's say commission 15%, sales amount 10,000 again. Your commission is 1,500. Do you wish to continue? No. And that will exit the loop.